Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Running with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Running with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Running with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Running with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Running with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Running with country bass, country bass.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Running with country bass.
We up all night just living right. Bitcoin glowing the city lights. Showing red, that's alright. That's cool. Dips off a buying, not crying right. Feeling that rush, that faith, that fire. Stacking up hope, we climb higher. Every loss just free wires. Bitcoin nights, pure desire. Yeah, fight, run it back.
Woke up, price down, that's my cue. Buy the dip, that's what real ones do. Post hard up, buy brand new. Profit's cool, but peace my view. She laugh, we toast, no stress, just glow. While the green sunsets go, from the block to the beach we roll. No food, just low.
Let it drop.
Still up, every fall just fuel the flight. We don't panic, we ignite. Faith and vibe, day and night. Bitcoin life feel right.
Shine bright. Yeah, we stacking.
We up all night, just living right. Bitcoin glow in the city lights. Whoa, showing red, that's alright.
That's cool.
Dips off a buying, I'm crying right. Feeling that rush, that faith, that fire. Stacking up hope, we climb higher. Every loss just rewire. Bitcoin nights, pure desire.
Buy low, watch it rise, no sleep tonight.
Ride away, smooth and steady. Wrong game strong, mind steady. She say move soon, baby we heavy. Cold wallet love, that's deadly. From city dreams to the sky divine. My portfolio hotline. Every block a sign of time. Truth and dissolve. Stack more, we divine. Stack more, we divine. Every dip's a blessing in disguise. Every fall got faith behind. We just hope we don't divide. We multiply. We up all night just living right.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going glow in the city light. Showing red, that's alright.
That's cool.
Dips off a buying, I'm crying right. Feeling that rush, the faith, that fire.
Yo, yo, yo. Happy Thursday, everybody. Bitcoin Chris checking in yet again. Thanks for tuning in. We got blood on the streets, blood on the streets, blood on the streets. It's so funny because, again, I've been telling you guys, be careful. Even on my last stream, I drew this bear flag, and look at it, came right down to where I said it was going to go. Not only that, we had the 73 support level broke, and then let's zoom in here. Of course, posty pivots with the levels that are going to pop up here in just one moment. Oh, look at that. 67,731. All given on YouTube, all given on X. Tweeted several times. So it is what it is. even even before this drop here, I tweeted, I said, wow, that hourly candle, I'll actually show you guys. I said that hourly candle looks crazy. Doesn't look too good. It's gonna give us a bigger discount. And right after that tweet, what do we get? A sell-off. So, and then MicroStrategy. I told you guys MicroStrategy is coming down to 117. Matter of fact, I got a text one of the homies. I got to text the homie, let him know. All right, cool. Now that he's been notified. Now that he's been notified, it's just funny. It's just funny, to see it, man. I mean, we can't be acting like I said, we can't be surprised at the sell off, man. So right now, he's asking, how do I take advantage of it? But I'm not sure because of the sell off, the selling pressure right now. So what I would do is this. I'm trying to show you guys the tweets because I don't like to show. I don't like to talk about it. I like to show about it. Hit that like, share, subscribe. Hit that like, share, subscribe. Hit like, share, subscribe. January 29th. Well, I've been saying it. I've been saying it before January 29th, but I tweeted it on January 29th. We're at 142. And we came down to 117. We went past 117. Went down to 114. We're gonna look at that in just a moment. There it is. Hourly candle looks ready to give us another discount. Bitcoin on sale, DCA and hold or hodl, and stop trading if you don't know what you're doing, because you're gonna end up getting clapped up, right? Especially if you don't know what you're doing. So here you can see the targets before this is 27 minutes ago. So I gave you guys, I called it, right? And I'm sure there's other people that called these levels as well, but I literally came on here and 30 minutes ago and said, yo, this is looking real crazy right now. So, and what do we get? Freaking sell off. We pumped up, clapped everybody up, and then now we don't. Let's go to the 30-minute. And then we'll look at MicroStrategy as well. IWM puts, I sold them already. I should have held them a little bit longer. I have a problem with selling too early. So I need to start holding these trades longer. But I made money, so I'm not going to complain. All right, so here we are looking at a red dot on the 30-minute. Boom, 30 minutes ago, I said, hey, this looks like it's going to dump again. And what do you know? Straight dumpage. And now we hit the 731 level. And because it's looking like such a strong candle, I don't know if we bounce here because we have a lot of selling pressure. And there's no support until We get over and get over to. Look at that bear flag, man. I called that. Look at that bear flag. We were all the way up here at 89. I said, yo, we're gonna come down here. I said the level. My target was actually the $72,000 area, and I said if we lose 72,000, we're definitely gonna come down lower. So my target is 65. Like I said, we're almost at 65. We just dipped. We just dipped just now. Damn, my IWM puts are pushing, but I don't have it anymore. So sad. Maybe I'll get in on a retest. And Bitcoin is just dipping right now. So yep, 66. Yep, just falling right now. Just falling right now. Again, so that was the first level of support. Our second level of support is going to be down here at 65. Oh, it's 65. It's always been 65. That's your weekly 200-day moving average, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's 60. I'm sorry. It should be around 60 for the 200-day moving average by the time it's all calculated. But you can. I've been telling you guys this doesn't look good, man, and it finally plays out. It just takes a little bit of time. Takes a little bit of time, but it's definitely looking bearish right now. So 58 to 60, 60 to 58 is your next level. We're bouncing right now. Maybe a relief bounce before we head down lower. But I just find it funny that, you know, MicroStrategy hit 117. It didn't look. I didn't know if it was. I knew it was gonna come down there, but I was hoping that it would, catch some strength. But it didn't catch any strength and just dipped. Today is the day that it finally hit the target, which is crazy because I've been calling it for a while. I've been calling 117 for a while. Damn, we're at 112. So Bitcoin, I mean, everything. This looks like it could possibly bounce, but we do have that red diamond here. Target was one. What was that? 115. On Posty Pivots, not even Posty Pivots had a target of 118. And we're just dropping off right now. So yeah, so if you're DCA and BTC, I would just don't even. You shouldn't even be. You gotta wait. You gotta wait until Bitcoin starts to range bound. You gotta wait for consolidation. Because once you start waiting for consolidation, then you can see either A, it's gonna have the revival pattern, or B, it's gonna have a bear flag. So it's if you're DCAing anyway, it really doesn't matter. But if you're just trying to strategically buy at certain points, especially when you have a limited amount of capital or a limited amount of what we call dry powder. All right, like right now, Bitcoin's dipping again. Wicked up, relief rally. Oh my God, my IWMs are going hammer. I'm probably about to hop in some other IWMs. Check out IWM real quick. I wonder what the VIX is doing. I gotta close some of these tabs. I know my tabs are making my computer run slow, and I know Restream is just mad RAM, mad data being used up. So, anyways, hit that like, share, subscribe. I told you, MicroStrategy to 117. Did you listen? I hope you listened. Hit that like, share, subscribe. I told you guys Bitcoin's coming down to 65. We almost at 65. We're at 66.6. At least on, um, I'm over here on Bybit. So Bitcoin is definitely going to, you know, come down, at least touch that 200-day moving average. Should at least hit that. Shouldn't be any surprise again. I don't know where you've been. And anybody telling you otherwise, they obviously don't know what they're talking about. So be aware of that. You gotta stack strategically if you have limited funds, limited capital, limited dry powder, right? So now would be a time to buy a nice little chunk, wait for 65K, buy a nice little chunk. Sorry about that. You had a phone call come in. All right, cool. So phone call came in. Yo, I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm alive. You're alive. God loves us. We have a nice little bounce on IWM here. So IWM's lower level target is what you're looking at the chart. I know some people don't trade stocks. I do. Well, I don't trade stocks. I trade the options. So target is 252 for IWM. I haven't even been looking at the flow or in any of these groups, but I'm sure there's a ton of, and I haven't been on Twitter at all. But I'm sure there's a ton of people giving out game and giving their levels online. So you guys need to follow the right people because you can definitely make some money by following the right people. Um, so let's go back to BTC because I think we're bouncing. Get a nice little bounce here. I look at it on Coinbase. I don't really like Binance. I never really liked Binance, but some people love Binance. It's a gloomy day here in Orlando, a little bit gloomy. We're used to the rain. I mean, we're used to the bright sunny days, but today is not one of them bright sunny days, but it's all good. I feel like all right, so we're looking at BTC, a little bit of a bounce here. I'm gonna close some of these tabs to see if my computer will speed up a little bit. All right, everybody that tuned in the beginning of the stream, thank you for tuning in. Wealth Rising is 10:40 Thursday, February. Oh, it's my birthday month, February 5th. So again, I'm just here online to try to give you guys encouragement, man. You shouldn't be tweaking out. You should be excited when Bitcoin dips, man. You know how annoying it is to buy Sats at 127, $126,000 when I've been buying Sats since they were like $3,000. Since Bitcoin was $3,000, I was buying Satoshis, man. So when you can see and compare how many Satoshis you're able to buy then versus now, it's it's very aggravating. But that's why you gotta understand what you are holding and the asset that you are holding and the freedom money that you are holding. All right, we got this little bounce. We got a nice bounce here. Clapped everybody up. Nice bounce now. Let's look at Coin Glass while we are, watching everything going on. Let's go check out Coin Glass. See how many people got liquidated. There wasn't even, at least to my overview and analysis, there wasn't really that many bulls left to be liquidated. But I mean, I think that's probably why we're not wicking down like how we usually have those crazy super fast sell-off with liquidation sell-offs. But I could be wrong. We're gonna check it out. See what the data says because I don't know what's going on. Let's see what the data says about it. According to CoinGlass data, in the past 24 hours, traders were liquidated for a total of, and it's loading, 1.42 billion, 302,000, almost 303,000 traders were liquidated. The largest liquidation ordered happened on Aster for 11 million. Wow, could you guys imagine being liquidated for $11 million? Obviously, they got more than $11 million, but bro, why don't you put on a stop loss? How you have all that bread and don't put on a stop loss, bro? I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. Or turn down the leverage, man, or do something. Do half the position and turn down the leverage. All right, so in the last hour, we got 235 million longs. 4 hours go by. Let's see what it says. We have 330 million. Oh no, 235 million 1 hour, 330 million 4 hour, 24 hours. We're looking like 724 million. And now we're going to look at the liquidation map. Dang, everybody, all those all the longs got clapped up. And I think now the shorts are going to be clapped up because of the way that we're bouncing right now. But let's check out the heat map. No, liquidation map. I don't do heat map. I do the heat map model 3. I like that one. Liquidation max pain. We'll also check that out. I always go to the 30-day outlook. Look at that. That's what I'm saying. Like, how much lower can we go? 60,000. Maximum amount 409 million at 59. what I'm saying. Like, how much lower can we go? 60,000. All right, making sure the audio was good. My audio was good. And then again, now the shorts, we have 10 billion in shorts at 88,000. 10 billion in shorts to be liquidated at 88,000. I mean, it's just again, I already knew because we have been looking at this data for a while now that there wasn't really too many more shorts to get liquidated. So it's obviously this is a bigger sell off. Obviously, this is a I think manipulation. I think this is manipulation by not only the whales but BlackRock because not only did we front run them all this time, they got in. They got in at a decent. I don't know. You can I don't know if you consider 50K a decent price, but they got in at around 50, 60K, 70K, 80K, whatever the case may be. Right, and they've been accumulating for their clients, and I'm sure they have their own. Um, but I think this is all market manipulation for them to get it at a cheaper discount because they're mad that they didn't get it at a discount. So the only thing that I can think of that's going to happen, which we've already talked about on my timeline, and I've shared videos of Brandon Gibbs, if I'm not mistaken, is his name. He he is a believer, and he has dreams and stuff, and he always has these predictions. So he predicted um, a lot of his predictions have came true. So he's saying that another another type of catastrophe, C19 level type occurrence will happen, which I agree with. On top of everything that's happening with the PDF files. So I mean, I feel like it's a conjunction of a lot of things. On top of that, um, the world being at war right now, or just the tensions are high and everything that's going on, and so a bunch of nonsense going on right now. So I think all the markets are just going to pretty much dump right now until everybody can chill out, or until the UFOs, aka demons, aka fallen angels, appear and say, "Hey, y'all gonna roll with this, or you're out of here." So, anyways, I digress. 10.16 billion at 88,422 to be exact. We have the hyperliquid map, which I don't really care for, but let's look at the liquidation max pain and the Model 3 because I like Model 3. Dang man, who it was crazy? You could have done some leap puts on MicroStrategy. I could have done some leap puts on MicroStrategy, uh, for my conviction, right? For the 117 puts, them shits would have cashed out. All right, so as you can see here, this is 77. We have a lot of liquidation up here, so we can definitely hit that little V-shaped recovery and just. But we still got liquidations down here. It's crazy. Even down here, 56,000. Very faint, very little. But imagine being the guy who has a liquidation level down at 56,000. You're like, man, we're not going to come down there, and we end up smacking it and then ripping back up. I'll be crazy. I'll be so pissed. But that's what they be doing, man. They play with us crazy. Pause. They be playing with the traders and people that don't know what they're doing. So you got to be careful. I like this one. All right, so now let's look at Max Payne. We'll do 30-day, and we'll do the week, and we'll do 24 and 48. It says max pain price. Is that our price right now? 66. Where are we at right now? We're at 67. 67.3. All right, so I guess that's our price. All right, cool. So boom, we have short max pain is gonna be 93. Long max pain is 67, which is where we're at now. So hey, it looks like we could bounce here, guys. Based on looking at this, let's look at the weekly, and then 24 and 48 hour. So short max pain 84,000. I'm assuming that's for longs, right? Yeah. Okay, for shorts, yeah, that's for longs. Get them clapped up 84,914, and then we have longs, long max pain for the longs for the bulls. We got 66,572, which we already hit, and now we're bouncing, right? So now you see we're bouncing. Almost hit 65, man. You know, I was looking for that 65, but you know, it's all good. We could reject here, or we could come up here and still be a higher low than our than this high here, which is 70, and then continue down. I have the fibs drawn on which chart. I'm not sure which chart. I might have deleted the fibs. This is crazy that I was able to draw a flag. So people that talk crap about TA, you can talk crap about TA all you want. It works. Just because you don't know it works or you don't know how it works doesn't mean that it doesn't work. Because I literally drew this. And look at that exactly. Exactly there. And I'm sure I did it in live too, so and I did that a while ago too, so just been dumping ever since. Under the 2200, same, strategies Oliver teaches, right? You have your narrow. Shout out to Oliver, man. Just makes trading so easy, man. Like all this other stuff people be doing is crazy. So you have your range here, your narrow 20 and 200. We're just ranging. And then you got your 20. Well, you're under the 20, under the 200 here, actually. Tested the 200 again, broke down. Elephant bar. Shout out to Oliver. In your position here, which is by the 20, under the 200 and the 20, and you have this large candle, which shows extreme selling pressure. Put your stop loss above that candle and just write it down. And then every time you come up to the 20, you can add or take profit. But Oliver usually says add here, right? As soon as you break down, add. Boom. You came down here. As soon as you break, add. And then you would take profit because this is your one leg, two leg, first leg. I don't know, it's just kind of like one leg, two leg, three leg, four legs. So you got four pushes down. It makes sense that we are going to start to bounce. On top of that, we hit the target level of the bear flag. On top of that, we hit the target level on posty pivots. On top of that, we just had a ton of selling pressure, right? Everything doesn't go down forever. It has to breathe. Everything goes in waves. So once you understand that, it's easier to do things like trade. And trading is much better than working a 9 to 5. So people that hate on traders, nothing wrong with a 9 to 5, but you can't hate on a trader when a trader can make what you make in a week in a couple minutes. So you can't even what you make in a month. There's traders out there that make what most people make in a month or even a year in a day or even an hour or 2 hours. So it's really, again, people always talk crazy about traders, but traders, if you don't know what you're doing, that's gambling. If you do know what you're doing, then you don't really have anything to worry about because you know what you're doing. So here we're looking at the daily again. Bear flag played out, and now we're bouncing a little bit. So the goal is to see. Let's go to the 30-minute on BTC. Let's go here. We have MicroStrategy just selling off like crazy. Hit down to 111. My target was 117. We came all the way down to 111, and we dropped from Wednesday after pumping a couple days. But again, we're under the 20. This is your 20-day moving average here, under the 20 and 200. So if you just listen to Oliver, there goes your elephant bar, stop loss above there, and you just hold one leg, two leg. It's your third leg, and then we have. It should probably start to turn up a little bit. Let's go to 30-minute. We're extremely far away from the 20 and the 200. So, but again, let's go to the weekly. You got to zoom out even farther. Let's see what the weekly's looking like. Man, that weekly on MSTR looks horrible. We should we have support here. So the lowest I think we can go is $100 for MicroStrategy. We do have a red dot on weekly on MicroStrategy, which is crazy. That means we're most likely going to continue to come down, and we could even hit next support is $70. So 70. Now would you look at that? Look at my fibs. We got a 43 and $43. But imagine we come down here, which would be amazing, and then we pump all the way back up to 500 plus to 1,000. Right? That's your discount. So that's why I said you should be excited. Like everybody that's over leveraged. I mean, even if you had positions, right? If you have positions, you have other indicators that can show you, what's going on, right? You have a red dot up here. You have your highest here, and you don't ever come back and retouch that high. You break down under the 20-day moving average, and then it turns red on mine. You have a strong candle and just been falling ever since. Let's go to the daily. Red money flow, red dot. It's July. So since July to February, we've just been in a downtrend. And again, under the 20 and the 200. Under the 20. So we should have some support here. And if we don't, then again, we're coming down lower. So that's MicroStrategy, man. And that's what I've been trying to tell you guys. So just be aware of what's going on if you're trying to trade. Again, I would highly recommend you learn from Oliver. There's a ton of different traders out there, but if you want to get the most easiest, in my opinion, simple, strategic way to trade, Oliver Velez all day, every day. Ain't nobody telling me nothing different, man. Oliver all day, every day. All day, every day. And 2 times on Sunday. You heard? All right, so yeah, so that we looked at the liquidation maps, we looked at the BTC price, we looked at tweets where I literally warned you guys right before it happened. We looked at tweets in the past where I've said these levels before. I have videos up where I can pull it up as well where I've said these levels before, called all these levels before. Look at that. There goes the fibs. Look at that. Trying to tell you. Stop playing. 63. So the first target here was the 68 because I pulled the low here, from the high. We came up and touched the 618 perfectly. Oh my goodness, look at that. Touched the 618 perfectly and then proceeded to head down and we hit the target exactly. Look at that. Funny how fibs work, right? And that's been there. This has been there. And then I have another one which is a little bit more. Let me zoom in here. It's more of a shorter term time frame for these fibs. So you gotta zoom in on this one. What did I do here? So I did the low here to the high, which is here. We came up, so I went from the high to the low, came up to the 618, a little bit over the 618. Got to zoom in a little bit here for you guys. Posty pivot is added additional fall, so let's get that up out of here. There we go. All right, so we went from the low here to the high, which is up here, bounced up to 50%, a little bit over 50%, just about the 382, boom. And then from the 382, the target was 71. 1618 was the second target, and then the third, we got you all the way down here at 63. So if we can drop here, lose this level, we'll definitely hit 65, which shouldn't be a surprise, especially seeing that on the hourly we're still pointing down. We have super red money flow. We do have RSI and stochastic RSI heading up as well, so that looks pretty good. Again, we have been selling off like crazy, but here you have your wick close to the 20 sell off. And so now this is thick. This is super thick money flow in the red. So that means there's a lot of sellers, a lot of sellers, a lot of sellers in, a lot of sellers in right now. So again, 65 I think is incoming. Lose 65, 63, and then 60, which is your 200-day moving, weekly moving average, which I've been talking about for a while now. So no surprise over here, right? Anybody that's surprised is just naive to the fact, and especially when you've been here for a while. There it is right here. And you've been in the space for a while. Again, like I made in the other video, I said you can't be naive to the fact that Bitcoin can't dump and scare everybody and liquidate everybody, and that the whales don't play games and that the exchanges don't play games. Come on now, like BlackRock's in the space too now. Come on now, like you can't act like, and then all these corporations are starting to buy and accumulate Bitcoin. Come on now, we got to use common sense, right? They're not going to want to buy up here. They want a discount too, right? They have the ability and the power to do so, to manipulate the price, whether you want to accept that or not. They do, right? They can sell. They can sell at will, as if their clients want to sell as well. So it's a lot of compounding things on top of, again, everything going on in the world right now. So these are things that we got to be aware of. You can't be naive to the fact that Bitcoin can't sell off. I said, hey, we can do 60, 65, 70, 75, and 80% pullbacks. And I did the numbers on all those on the last live. So again, we're back, being proven right yet again. And for somebody that's been here for a while, Bitcoin will really work on you and your inner self to let you know who you are, right? Bitcoin is a mirror. Shout out to Max Kaiser. Bitcoin is definitely a mirror to yourself. And again, be careful. We got money flow in the red. I'm excited. If Bitcoin comes down again, I'm not gonna complain. I'm excited. I'm not gonna complain. I'm excited. So for it to come up, hit 6.18 exactly, and then fall to the target exactly. when this has been here and I've been on live, it just shows you again. TA is it works if you know how to work it, right? If you don't know how to trade, if you don't know what you're doing, don't trade. Just stack your Bitcoin and chill, and you'll outperform everybody, right? But there's people out there that trade that know how to trade. There's people that want to learn how to trade. I encourage you to do it, but don't trade. Don't trade and not have the education behind it, because that's gambling, right? That's why I say go listen to Oliver. I have a video on trading on my timeline on my YouTube as well. But again, I just go into a quick. It's nothing crazy, nothing deep in depth. But Oliver, in my opinion, has the best outlook on trading, and that's why I have the 200 and the 20 on my charts, and that's why I'm able to. And I know how to do fibs, so and I have Market Cipher, so I use all these things in conjunction to make decisions and to trade. And even trading, like I haven't been trading too much because this is all chop city. This is week. This is a weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4, 8, 12. It's 3 months of just getting chopped up, right? Unless you're like scalping and all this stuff. But we was in this chop city right here for 3 months. So, and we finally broke after we ripped up flush. So 2 weeks of flushing, 3 weeks of flushing, and they call that the three red crows. Let's see what that's called on Google. The three red candles. I think it's called the three red crows or something. Yeah, there it is. The three red crows or three black crows is a powerful bullish reversal candle pattern appearing after an uptrend signaling intense selling pressure. It consists of three consecutive long bodied red or black candles that close progressively lower with each opening with the previous candle body. Boom. So there you go. 1, 2, 3. Look at that, man. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I remember that because I know, and I've seen people, mention it here and there, but I remember this because once you start trading, you start to remember and look at patterns. 1, 2, 3. You feel me? So 1, 2, 3. So you can't be sitting here telling me, "Oh, I'm about to DCA, I'm about to buy right here." Cool, but now it dips lower. You got a lot more sats because you're impatient and you don't know what you're doing, and you're not looking at the charts because which is fine. I'm not saying that you have to, but if you want to be strategic about how much you buy, you have a certain amount of capital, dry powder, money available to buy. Why don't you just buy it when it bottoms out or towards, just do it in chunks, right? Do it in little sections. I always tell people split it up into three. All right, do 1/3 of it now. You drop another $5,000. Do another third of it. You drop more. That's your third, and then then you're out of dry powder until whenever you get some more dry powder. Right? So you got to be smart, guys. You have to be smart. You cannot be trying to time the bottom or time the top. Even though I definitely mentioned a few times that this is looking real horrible on the weekly. I said this plenty of times. Plenty of times I said Bitcoin is not looking good at all. And we got the permanent bulls that don't pay attention to reality, right? So I pay attention to reality. I remember I'm somebody who has a Bitcoin tattoo on his face. All right, I'm somebody that's been in this space for a very long time, and I'm not naive to the fact that Bitcoin can go down and clap you up and make you lose hope and make you get frustrated, right? And make you reevaluate what's going on, right? And make you test your conviction. So if you don't have any conviction to be tested, you're going to sell your coin, right? You're going to sell your coin thinking that you're going to be able to come down and buy lower. And by the time it comes down lower, you're like, oh, it's going to come down lower. And you're going to keep waiting for it to come down lower. And then it never comes down lower, or it reverses. And then You're like, all right, I'm gonna come back, and it never comes back. So here you go, it just keeps going up. So these are my levels that are drawn on the chart. Again, this is the I can even do them. This is the daily. I can redo this one, but so not there it is. Level is 50, 60, 65, 63, 60, 56, 52, 50. We lose that. We're coming down to 30, 40, 30. Everything will be in five, $10,000 increments. That's the goal. This looks very, 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 very bearish, regardless of how you feel about it. Because we're under the 20 to 200. It is an immense selling pressure. We're definitely oversold, but just because we're oversold doesn't mean that we can't not still sell. We have the red, we have RSI, stochastic RSI still headed down, not even bottoming out yet on the stochastic and RSI, so that's not good. Money flow in the red, that's not good on the daily again. So hourly said looked like we were trying to turn up a little bit over at the 30 minute. So again, enough of the TA. I think I proved the point. If you're just now tuning in, I'm basically just doing a little bit of TA, letting you guys know Bitcoin is definitely able to drop lower. Be careful. We could bounce here. DCA smart. Be smart when you DCA. This could be a bear flag setting up for Bitcoin. So be careful. Um, we have lower levels here. We do have the RSI, stochastic RSI turning up on the 30 minute. However, when you have a large selling candle like this an hour ago or an hour and 30 minutes ago, this looks like a bear flag. So I'm going to say this is a bear flag. And again, I think we're coming down to 65,000. If we lose 65, we'll come down to 63. We lose 63, we're going down to 60. I've been saying the same thing. That's nothing new. And this is nothing new. So if you're thinking about DCAing, DCA strategically, buy whatever you can buy. It doesn't really matter, especially if you're holding it for 10 plus years, because when Bitcoin is 600 million or 100 million or 5 million or 10 million, wherever the price may be at in the future, these prices are going to be irrelevant, just like how when Bitcoin was 3 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand, you know, hundreds of dollars, a dollar, you feel me? Those prices, do you think those people care that they bought it at a dollar, $10,000, or $1,000, or $500 when we're sitting still at $65,000 right now? No, they don't. So how do you think they're gonna feel when it's millions of dollars? The same way you're gonna feel, right? And it's only reflecting what's going on in the world as far as the monetary policy and slavery and uh, currency debasement and inflation, all that good stuff, right? So it's only a mirror, right? And the DXY must be doing something, right? It must be pumping back up because oh, look at that. How did I know? I think we talked about the DXY going up. I don't know if it was on this, just probably the other chart though that I have my levels on. I know it's this chart. Okay, so here you have the DXY down at the bounce level. Look at that. Reaction, reaction, reaction. Okay, so US dollar go up, assets go down. Come on now. And this is daily, so it makes sense. And this could be a large bear flag as well. All right, I'm about to grab something to drink. because I'm very parched. In the meantime, I'm gonna play some music. I'll play some new tunes. If you have not gone and checked out the House of Satoshi album, go check out the House of Satoshi album. It's on YouTube. It's on Apple. It's on Spotify. It's on Amazon Music. Wherever it is that you listen to music, it's there. So make sure you guys go check it out. We're gonna do. I don't know what song we'll put on, but all gas, no brakes. You'll do all gas, no brakes. MacBook Pro. No, I'm not on my MacBook Pro. My MacBook Pro is chilling. I'm on the MacBook Air, and this is what happens when you use Restream on a MacBook Air. It doesn't have enough RAM, or maybe because I have a ton of windows open. But either way, we're still frozen right now. So give me a few moments, guys. Maybe I can play it on here. We got some people saying it's gonna go down below. We got people saying 26,000, like Andrew Tate said 26,000. I don't think we get down that low. And then Max Prime, Gary says 30,000, under 30,000. So it's possible. I wouldn't be surprised. That would be crazy, especially with the. That'd be crazy if that happens.
We should let go. All gas, no brakes on the road. Woo! Stacking up hope, not just coins I hold. Fade my soul, never sold. Set it forever, bright as a flame. Flame. Blessings hit different when you call his name. Heart unlocked, no fee I change. We live free, no stress, no pain.
so sweet. Tastes like victory. Grey's army, no mystery. Orange, oh, in the history. Big women, my ministry. We don't chase, we manifest. Got road checks, we just invest. Stack that faith, let's compound bless. Look out, flee, hey.
Hands up high, don't drop that high. Love so loud, it's set to ignite. Every line just changed my side. We up tonight.
Tonight, yeah.
We shine like gold. All gas, no brakes on the road. Stacking up hope, not just coins I hold. Faith in my soul, never sold. Set it forever, bright as the flame. Let's hit different when you call his name. Heart unlocked, no fear chain. We live free, no stress, no pain.
Shades on, and low, top down ride, drip too clean, holy inside. Every block we build with pride. Take the engine, trip the guide. Talk that peace, walk that proof. Oh, cool, bless, no need for rule. We got love that's bulletproof. Praise the truth.
This mighty luck is destiny. God breathe fire inside of me. No fear, no enemy, just melody. We shine like gold, all gas, no brakes on the road. Stacking up hope, not just coins I hold. Faith in my soul, never sold. Set it up forever, bright as a flame. Blessings hit different when you call his name. Heart unlocked, no fear chain. We live free, no stress, no pain. Bitcoin liar in my eyes. 21 million reasons I rise. Freedom flowing through the sky. No fear, just faith and light. Coldest warm hearts alive. We don't fall, we multiply. Truth and lie, it never dies. Unbreakable chain. I've been grinding through the storms in the chart. Fame, my truth, my heart. Cold can't fair what God designed. For love through every line. They chase like we built a plan. Some money in a broken land. He said, hold fast, I got your hand. Now I stand. Bitcoin love, fire in my eyes, yeah. 21 million reasons I rise. Freedom flowing through the sky, no fear, just faith and light.
So yeah, let's see what's going on, man. Let's see what's going on with the levels. We pretty much went over everything I wanted to go over with you guys. DXY is pumping. That means BTC is dumping. Assets are dumping. It's funny to see James, crypto guru. A lot of people are upset at Trump right now because of the stock market and because of the current space or current price action of Bitcoin, right? But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So if you're wise and you're able to take advantage of the opportunity and the situations, do so. I'm gonna say the same thing I've been saying for 6 years. Leverage your credit to get some capital. Deploy the capital at strategic and smart times, right? Working a 9 to 5 job is only going to be able to get you so much money when you can literally fix your credit, click a button, and get anywhere between $10,000 to $25,000 on a business credit card. You can get business. You can't get a business loan unless you've been in business for like two plus years with tax returns. But you can get a home equity, not home. You can get a line of credit and a business credit cards, and you can use that capital to do different things. You can also do it personally, right? You can do a personal loan if that's your risk tolerance and if that's what you're able to do, and if you think that you're paying 7% or 10% on your loan, and Bitcoin goes up 100% or even 50%, you keep the spread, right? You keep 40%, pay your 10%, rinse and repeat. So there's so many things. And what I'll do is before I leave, Mark Moss was on the Bitcoin, whatever that Bitcoin show is. I'll have to go to Twitter right now and find it. But I'll go. Actually, I uploaded it. So let me do that. I uploaded it because it is a very simplistic way that you can hear somebody else besides me say it. Because when I say it, nobody listens. But when Mark Moss says it or somebody else says it, everybody listens at that point. So it's all good. It is what it is. But I just find it funny that I say these same things and nobody seems to listen until it's somebody else saying it. But hey, it is what it is. You shouldn't be listening to what anybody says anyway, because I'm only giving recommendations and my opinions about things. So what you should do is you should do your own research when you hear somebody talking about anything, right? So let me share this again. Boom, share screen, share audio as well. Here we go. It's right here. It's 16 minutes long. I think it's pretty dope. And for those of you guys that are just now tuned in, hit that like, share, subscribe. We're gonna let this play.
Bitcoin isn't an
Only
inheritance. The system is. What does that mean? So the system is. It a lot of people think that Bitcoin is the end. Just why Bitcoin do nothing, and it is the cheat code, so it does allow to do that. But I think a better way to do it is to think about building a system around Bitcoin. And so, if that line specifically, the inheritance, what I sent you is an entire thesis from A to Z. How do we start and where do we end? And we end with the inheritance. We end with passing that down. A lot of people today and in the Bitcoin community today think that passing down an inheritance is a bad thing. I could hurt my kids, damage my kids. I don't want them. They need to go earn their own way. Those types of things. But as
Bear with the
Bitcoiner, I
technical
think that my
difficulties.
life should be represented by a block of proof of work. I want to die with zero. I should leave the proof of my work of my life here. And then why should my kids start from zero? Why can't they add the next block? But the problem is that it's not the money that gets passed down to the generations that make them bad, right? Money just amplifies behavior. So rather than passing down assets that the next generation will probably just sell, I need to pass down the system that built the asset. I need to pass down the system that uses the asset to pay for their life and continues to compound without having to be sold. I'm not going to sell my Bitcoin ever. And I don't want my kids, my great grandkids, or my great great grandkids to sell the Bitcoin either. So, what I want to pass down is the system that created the Bitcoin, the system that uses Bitcoin to fund their life, to do all the things they want to do without selling it.
And let's talk about that for a second, Mark, because again, I think the mentality of most Bitcoiners, at least my audience, is accumulate and wait.
Yeah.
You're basically saying, no, that's not how you do it at all. You should actually be focusing on cash flow, on generating cash flow, building that stack, and then using that cash flow to accumulate more Bitcoin. Why do you think so many Bitcoiners get it wrong?
Well, because everybody gets it wrong, not just Bitcoiners. Bitcoiners bring the inherent problems that everybody else has. So here's a quick reframe for everybody that's going to make sense. We can talk about Michael Saylor. Your audience knows Michael Saylor very well. Now, what Michael Saylor is doing is what people have been doing for a long period of time. It's not new, but it is new in the Bitcoin space. So, for example, let's just look at MicroStrategy. We've probably listened to dozens or hundreds of his interviews, but he did one with Jordan Peterson. That was pretty good. I'm sure you saw that. And he said, I did 10 trips around the world in a decade trying to grow MicroStrategy, and I couldn't grow it. I couldn't compete against Microsoft. I had $500 million of cash, capital, of treasury, but what am I going to do? Buy another company, merge? Nothing I could do could increase my revenue. Okay, so let's take that to a personal level real quick. So what happens is for most of us, we're trying to earn money, but what happens is hustle culture tells us we have to work harder. We have to save harder, skip your coffee, work harder, save harder, get a side hustle, start a new business, get more skills, do more sales, work extra hours, work overtime, work harder trying to make more revenue. That's what Saylor tried to do. He couldn't make more revenue. At some point, we max out. We can only work so long. At some point, we max out. So what Saylor decided, you know what, instead of trying to grow more revenue and make MicroStrategy more profitable by revenue, instead of that, how about if I change the name of the company to Strategy, and instead I build the treasury and not make more revenue? So he used two tools to do that, which all of us have at our disposal: credit and equity. And within 5 years, he took MicroStrategy from a $3.6 billion company to $50 billion. So he was unable to grow it, chasing revenue. But when he worked on the treasury, it went from 3 to 50. So us as individuals, we can only work so hard. I can't increase my revenue, but that's what everyone tries to do. I need to work harder, I need to save harder, but we have assets, we have equity and credit. And if we want to go from 3 to 50, we can do the same thing if we focus it that way.
Absolutely. And again, I think it's really interesting, Mark. And why do you think that it was so difficult for Saylor to break free? Because essentially you had 20 years of him going sideways. Credit to him for surviving the dot-com crash, right? But 20 years, and I remember in so many of his interviews, he's basically, look, I tried everything and it just wouldn't work. Microsoft just would outcompete me. It seemed like Bitcoin was really his breakthrough. And then one of the things that I remember in the Danny Knowles podcast that went pretty viral the other day, he kept saying, he was like, look, like if you're a struggling company or if you just kind of want to get ahead and you don't have a monopoly, this is a way for you to be competitive.
Right. I think what people miss, and I just recorded with Danny, we went into that, and I gave him a more layman's term to try to answer the questions that he was trying to get from Saylor, but couldn't. So I gave him layman terms that I think made more sense. Saylor just talks at a higher level. But anyway, back to answering that question, the problem that we have, and you know this because you study this, but the fiat system is stealing from us, right, by inflating the currency. So the problem is that the cost of living is going up faster than your income. So if you're trying to build wealth with income, you're always going to be behind because you can't keep up with the rate. Okay, so let's just say with some numbers, let's say the cost of living is going up by 10% a year, but your pay is going up by 3 or 4% a year. So you're falling behind. But your assets are going up by 30% a year. So the switch that Saylor's talking about to become more competitive is like you can't increase your revenue and profit margins fast enough for the rate of debasement that's happening. So you need to use an asset that can outpace that. That's what he's saying. And so for us individually, we can do the same. Now, again, Bitcoin is a cheat code. Buy the Bitcoin, wait 10 years. You're going to have plenty of money. You can sell it off. You can die with zero, and that works. But that's terrible. Why would you want to die with zero? Why would you want to live poor? You know, modern portfolio theory tells you to save up for 40 years, sell 4%. Hopefully you die before you run out of money. And I think that's a fiat mindset. And so what Saylor's saying is use Bitcoin to outpace that inflation, and then we can build wealth and push that value forward.
What do you think is the actual inflation rate, Mark?
10%.
10%. So even if you just buy, you know, an index fund, the S&P 500, you're underwater.
So why would I say 10%? So, you know, I would look at the original, and what I consider the real definition of inflation is the money supply increase. So inflation is always a monetary phenomenon, right? And so when you think about even the term of inflation, if what does that word even mean? So if I inflate a balloon, what does that word inflate mean? I'm increasing the volume of air in the balloon. So inflation is increasing the volume of money. That was the original definition. Around the 1950s, they started to change that to CPI, or consumer price inflation. And von Mises was very vocal in this period. And he said, hey, watch what they're doing. They're trying to change the definition of the word. And he warned us of that. And the reason why they want to change it, as he told us, and now we see it today, is because if we tie it to CPI, price inflation, well, we don't know. Why do some prices go up and some prices go down? It's certainly not the money. And so then they can distract us. And now today, in the last presidential election cycle, inflation was probably the hottest debated topic, but nobody understands it because they've changed the definition. We can't really tie it back. So anyway, if it's the money supply, then we just look at how fast is the money supply rate going. Now, since I think 2008, it's gone up by about 8%. But since about 2020, it's been going up at 10% a year. That's the number. We can also look at another way, and this is a little bit different, but gold today is at $4,600 an ounce, which is insane, which means $1 represents 1/4600th of an ounce of gold. In 1913, when the Federal Reserve was created, it was 1/20th. So that means in 113 years, it's gone up by 5% a year. So you could say 5% a year, but the problem is it's accelerating. So it's 5% a year for 113 years. It's about 10% for the last 5.
Man, that's, first of all, again, it's absolutely crazy because everybody who's been thinking that they've been getting a return have not been getting a return whatsoever. They've just been literally treading water at best. But again,
let me break that into math. So at 5%, that means every 14 years, your money gets cut in half. So if you're 25 years old, you get out of college, you start your career, and at the time you're 25, you start saving. You save $1 million by the time you retire. It's worth 130 grand. If you save 2 million, it's worth, you know, whatever, 230, 240. So like, you understand, like, it's stealing so fast. And so that's why half of baby boomers today have zero. And of the half that do have money, it's an average of $240,000.
That's wild. That's wild. Now, Mark, one of the things that really stuck out to me in the document that you sent me is the strategy is to build a personal Bitcoin treasury with layered liquidity, cash for safety, cash equivalents for stability, Bitcoin as the core engine, and a higher beta Bitcoin business or treasury companies. You also said that part of your thesis was this treasury thinking, which is the same frameworks that institutions use. What do you mean by that? And what can Bitcoiners do today? What would be the advice that you would give to Bitcoiners? Because I said all of this stuff. Most of my audience is like, all right, stay humble, stack sats. What would be the advice that you would give to, you know, the everyday Bitcoiner to implement this thesis so that they could actually truly build wealth?
Yeah. So stay humble, stack sats. Great advice. Everyone, again, it's a cheat code. You can just buy Bitcoin and you can outperform Wall Street, private equity, venture cap. You can just do that. And then you can sell it off little chunks at a time, and you probably won't run out of money because it's compounding faster than you're selling it, depending on how much you're spending. And that works. Sure. I'm a surfer. I'm from Southern California. Most people haven't ever gone swimming in the ocean when there's big waves, and they probably shouldn't because they could drown. If you want to surf, you wouldn't go to like Pipeline in Hawaii and jump out into 30-foot waves because you'll probably drown. but yet there's hundreds of people in the water there every day surfing, having fun. So the reason why I bring that story up is that the first thing that people hear when they hear this, especially Bitcoiners, is, Mark, isn't that risky? Are you saying that I should use debt? Are you saying that I should use leverage? Because what if I get liquidated? And what if I lose my money? And Dave Ramsey said that I should never use debt. And I should pay off everything. I should pay off my house. Mark, what you're saying sounds extremely risky. Sure, like going in the ocean is extremely risky, but I could learn how to swim. I could put on a life jacket. I could make sure there's a lifeguard there. I could have a jet ski follow me. And so we can de-risk the situation. So the first thing I would say is we have to understand that there's never an absence of risk. There's only difference of risk. An easy analogy would be, if I go to the gym because I want to get in shape, it's risky. I could get in a car accident on the way there. I could get in a fight when I'm there. I could drop a weight on my head when I'm there. That's risky. I could hurt my shoulder lifting overhead. So I'm not going to go to the gym because that's too risky. So I stay on the couch. But then I get obesity, I get heart disease, I get cardiovascular disease. So there's always risk. So the risk is you either learn how to leverage the fiat system and use credit and equity, the treasury model, or you try to save your way, and it's guaranteed loss. So what do you want to break down the treasury model?
Keep going, man. Keep going.
So the treasury model is basically just like what Saylor did, and it's what the wealthy have been doing forever. The problem is that these tools have only been available to the 1%. Bitcoin is the cheat code that allows all of us to do the same thing. So what the wealthy have always done, the traditional path that everybody's on is go to school, get good grades, save for 40 years for retirement, and one day have enough money to sell, right? So what they do is they earn, they pay taxes, they live on whatever's left, and then hopefully save a little bit, stack a couple sats. What the wealthy do is they make income and buy assets, don't pay taxes on that, and then they have the assets pay for their life.
Are you saying this is a viable strategy for most people?
Everybody could do this, and I can break it up for you.
Break it down.
So you have to make, this is not how to make money. You need to learn how to make money and get credit. If you can't figure out how to get a credit card, just end podcast right now. So let's say you're making $100,000 a year. You know how to get a credit card. You have a home. You have a business, whatever. Okay, so step number one, whether you're 100,000, 100 million, or whatever.
Wait, Mark, hold on. Sorry to interrupt you. Now I'm connecting the dots. Now I understand by the jujitsu analogy that you used. Now it's all coming together in my mind.
What I said was judo, because judo is about like throwing your opponent, right? So what happens is when you attack me, you have energy moving towards me, and I would transfer your energy and throw you.
Using the very system of credit against the system itself.
It's a speculative attack. So what happens is in the game of building wealth, the two main penalties that we have to deal with are taxes and inflation. So taxes steal half of our wealth, and inflation robs us 10% of our wealth. So we have to offset those two things. So how can we minimize that? So step number one, if I make $100,000 a year, and let's just say 40% tax rate, depending on what state you're in, whatever, for easy numbers. I'm not good on the fly with my math. So 40% tax rate. So I make $100,000. I pay $40,000 in taxes. I have $60,000 left. I live off $60,000, which is tough, and hopefully I stack a couple sats. Okay, so what step number one would be to access credit, and I would use that credit to buy an asset that gives me tax depreciation. Now I use credit, so there's no money out of my pocket because I don't have any. I'm broke. I'm barely stacking sats. So I use some credit that gets me an asset that gets me tax depreciation. And let's say that I get $20,000 of tax depreciation. So now instead of ending up with $60,000 after taxes, I end up with $80,000 after taxes. I have an extra $20,000 without working a single extra hour, without working harder, and I just made an extra 20 grand, which gets me more sats. So now I buy $20,000 worth of Bitcoin. Next year I do the same. The next year I do the same. In 5 years, without working an extra single hour, without making an extra single dollar, I've stacked $100,000 in Bitcoin, and that's not accounting for any appreciation. All right. So now I've got 100,000. So you're following me. I didn't work harder, but now I've got a treasury that's being built up. Okay. Then I can start to leverage the treasury, get more tax depreciation.
Okay.
And I can use the treasury to now pay for my living expenses. And the goal, let me fast forward to the end goal to connect the dots, and I'll stop. But the end goal that we want to is, as I already said, is I want my earned income to be offset so there's no taxable amount. And 100% of my earned income goes into Bitcoin. And then I leverage my Bitcoin to pay for my living expenses, and that's tax free because I'm using debt to do that.
Man, this is first of all is blowing my mind. And again, I want to talk about the judo aspect of it, right? How is it a speculative attack on the system?
Yeah, because I'm using cheap credit, cheap fiat credit to buy a harder asset. So I am using both the cheap fiat credit system and the tax system to lever up and stack a giant Bitcoin treasury. So I'm speculative attacking using credit, buying using cheap money to buy a harder asset.
And you said
It's exactly what Sailor's doing. Sailor is borrowing Stretch, the iPhone moment, he's paying 11% yield today. So he's borrowing money at 11% to buy Bitcoin. Most of us can get money for cheaper than 11%, and we can buy Bitcoin. I could borrow against my Bitcoin at 10% and buy more Bitcoin. I'm getting money cheaper than the Sailor is. We can all do the same thing.
okay.
All right. You heard it from somebody else other than me. Finally. And again, I can go back in time and show you where I've been saying the same thing for 6 years. We're in 2026. Ever since I learned about credit and leveraging credit in 2020, that's all I've been talking about, right? That's all I've been trying to help people to understand, overstand. So it's good to hear Mark Moss talk about this. The host of Bitcoin Simply. I mean, I don't like comments like that. I feel like people just be acting like it's rocket science, and it's because they themselves, even Bitcoin. That's what I've been saying for the longest time. Even Bitcoiners don't really understand how the money works, because if you did, then you would understand that the smartest thing that you can do is to leverage your credit to get more capital to buy the Bitcoin, which is what Sailor's doing on a major scale for the corporation side. But you can do it on the personal side with your personal credit, or you can do it with an LLC, which is what I've been trying to tell you guys, or S corp or C corp, which would be jumping into the Sailor level type stuff when you start to distribute and you can sell shares and stuff, which I went over in the previous live or two lives ago. So it's a lot of things that is just like, I don't know how to comprehend, and oh my god, you're telling me that I can do that? I didn't know. Cool, you didn't know that you can do that, but how don't you know that you can do that when you have people in the space such as myself, such as Sailor, doing it on a corporate level? And I'm sure there's other people. I haven't really seen other people, but I've seen people say things like, "Hey, I'm about to take out a loan and get Bitcoin and all that stuff too." But there's a way to do everything, right? You can do things strategically and do it the right way. So I don't like the I don't like the dumbfounded comments, like, or the I'm shocked, or I didn't like, oh, you should. I don't like the you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't leverage that comments. I don't like the average, normal, everyday 9 to 5 worker mindset about debt, because the average person goes into debt to buy a house, and the house is paid for when you sign for it, and then you pay the house off again 2 to 3 times in interest alone. Now they're going to do a 50-year mortgage apparently. What else? There's a lot of people that are just like, they know about Bitcoin, but they don't know how money works. And you think, and I've been saying it for a while, and even British like says these things too. Like, some Bitcoiners are just like, some Bitcoiners just don't know what they be talking about, but they feel like they know what they're talking about. So it is what it is, but it's just funny. Even the people that, again, have these podcasts and have Mark Moss on, and Mark Moss is breaking this stuff down. He's like, wait a minute. So you're saying that I can, and you're saying that, yeah, bro, are you not listening? Why is your mind blown? It's not rocket science. It's literally not rocket science. It's just a different way of thinking. Just like how you learned about how money works, you've been indoctrinated to think about Bitcoin or money one way, and then you learn about Bitcoin. You need to implement and think that same way about a business, and the same way about leveraging debt and credit to your advantage. because people do the same thing with real estate all the time. You don't hear anybody saying a thing about it. So now that Michael Saylor has came through and gave you the example, which again, not to toot my own horn, but I was talking about this before Saylor was talking about this. So again, not to toot my own horn, but I've been telling everything that he's doing. I've been doing it on a smaller scale, which should be an example, right? And should be something that you should want to do, because why would you want to work a whole year for 50 grand when you can click a button at two banks and get 50 grand, or three banks and get 50 grand with the click of a button, all by fixing your credit? But nobody wants to listen now, do they? No, they don't. They want to continue to do things the way that they've been doing it. So this is why I don't take advice from the average person that works a job or doesn't know anything about money, because you can work a job and you know how to leverage your credit. I'm not saying anything's wrong with working a job, but if you don't know how money works and how debt works, and you think just because you understand Bitcoin and you understand the one, that's one aspect of the overall, fiat currency system, then I'm not trying to listen to you, because you don't know what you're talking about, and nobody has proven me wrong yet, right? Because you can't. And again, Sailor is your go-to, right? He's the golden boy, the golden child, right? Showing you what to do on a corporate and major scale, just like what Michael Moss says. It's just not rocket science. So when we say things like, hey, you should probably consider looking at some options where you don't have to go sit in an Uber car, or be an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, unless you want to do these things, right? When you can just fix it's like y'all be doing the most difficult things when it could be so easy, right? Or you guys don't sacrifice. It's called delayed gratification, which Bitcoin should teach you all about, right? You delay your gratification. You hustle, you grind now so you can reap the benefits later. So why don't you guys do the same thing when it comes to your credit, right? Why don't you All right, can you guys hear me now? You guys should be able to hear me now. All right, can you guys hear me now? You guys should be able to hear me now. Cool. I had a call come in, so I apologize for that. But anyways, like I was saying, come on, guys, y'all gotta step your game up, especially when you got somebody that's out here trying to help for real, and there's other people that can help for real. Just take advantage of the information, guys. I don't do these lives for my health. I do it to try to help you guys out, open your minds up, get your brains flowing, get your thoughts going, creative juices going, you feel me? So this could be another H. Could be coming down lower. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, hit that like, share, subscribe. If you're watching on X, just hit that like button for me. Somebody needs to learn about the different opportunities and strategies out here so they can get some more BTC, especially while it's on sale. But if not, that's okay. You guys don't want to listen, I don't care. That's your family bloodline that's not going to have more BTC just by simply leveraging your credit. But y'all want to work extra hard and do Uber and do all this extra stuff, right? For maybe good reasons and maybe not good reasons, right? Well, I'm the type that wants to work smarter, not harder. So you do what you want to do. I'm gonna continue to say the same thing that I've been saying for over 6 years, coming up on 6 years now, probably over 6 years because I've been telling people fix the credit since 2017. But I learned about business credit in 2020, especially when I had the opportunity to get business funding, and then was deciding between real estate and um, Bitcoin. At that point, I was like, okay, I wanted cash flow, but I knew Bitcoin was definitely, obviously, the superior asset, but I was more focused on cash flow. But I decided to choose Bitcoin, and that was we went from 10K, 20K to 69,000. So it was definitely the best investment in my opinion, and at that time. So and if I didn't have the cap, and if I would have just been, and the thing is, this is right when C19 happened. This is exactly right around that time C19 happened, and Bitcoin dipped to like 3 grand, and then we went on that crazy run. So I remember like it was yesterday because I was working a regular job. Oh, well, I'm in sales. So salespeople don't, if you're in sales, I'm not like when I say 9 to 5, I'm talking about 9 to 5 jobs that can be replaced by AI, like your admin, your administrative work, your front desk, receptionist, like even like your cashiers are being replaced by AI and machines because now they got the self checkout, all that stuff, right? So, I'm talking about like the jobs that are replaceable for the most part. Um, But I've been in sales since, I don't remember. I think I've always been in sales. Obviously, the first couple jobs I had wasn't in sales. I worked at a pet shop when I was a kid. I worked at a pet shop. I worked at Dixie Stampede. I worked at Ale House. I worked at Gators. So I worked, a variety of different jobs, and then I found out about sales. I learned about sales and how to do sales, right? And I was in sales, doing selling vacation packages, which are super, you know, and at that time super easy to sell. Or not super easy either. You got it or you don't. But going from just making sales and making a lot of money, and then just using that skill all the way up until that was a little boiler room type situations, working for different, corporations and companies and whatnot, and then going to Hilton. Then I worked at Hilton, which is when I first stumbled across, BTC, thanks to Max and Stacy, because I was watching the Kaiser Report, and I used to be, super into the politics and stuff, right? Every night, listening to like the news and stuff. Um, but even then, I knew about, Zeitgeist and the different, like, I don't know, kids. I feel like millennials growing up had a much crazier, like, upbringing, because we were introduced to, you know the technology at like high school. So we got to experience being outside, you know, being interactive with people, and, having manners, and riding bikes and playing in the parks, more active and more like socially adept to what's going on in the world. And then we got introduced to the smartphones and whatnot, because I know that the iPhone came out around 2006, 2007 ish. We had the chirp phones, we had the Nextel chirp, we had the flip phone razors, we had the sidekick. I don't know if you guys remember any of that. The Nokia was like very popular as well. You couldn't talk, you had to pay for your minutes back then. I don't know if you guys remember that. You had to pay for your minutes. You guys remember that? Prepaid minutes. Or you couldn't even talk until after 9. You had the landlines, like I remember that, right? I remember the landlines where, you was on the phone, and if somebody else picked up the phone, you're on the phone, they can listen to your phone call. We had I remember the dial-up. Oh my God, I remember AOL Online, America Online, how big and clunky the computers were. I remember that as a kid. So I remember a lot of those things, and then like just seeing how the transition went from how even like your behaviors, especially having, my son is 15, he's gonna be 16 this year, which is crazy even to think about. Um, just seeing how differently he's, just how different the kids are versus how we are, of course, which is fine. I'm just reflecting. But just all that goes into, I think, it plays a part into a lot of what we're going through as a society, especially here in America. Um, you just gotta do what you gotta do and do the best that you can do. And all I'm saying is, I want y'all to work smarter, not harder. I want my child and my children and the generations to come to work smarter and harder. That's why I tell you guys, hey, worry about your credit right now. Delay the gratification. Fix your credit. Get a loan. Whatever. You get a better interest rate. You use that. There's obviously other things that you can do that most people aren't privy to as well. Quarter satisfaction, understanding how the actual money came into play. The quote unquote money. They never give you money. It's credit. All that good stuff that everybody calls everybody calls people crazy when they understand what's really going on, why they be finessing us. So finesse, finesse, finesse. They finesse the masses, and this is how we get to where we're getting to now. And now college is a scam. You feel me? Unless you're going, even to be, you guys are being doctors and cool doctors and lawyers. Cool, cool. I'm not saying not to go to school to learn a specific skill. I highly recommend that you do that, because obviously you need to do that. But if you're not going to do any of those things that are important, or maybe like a trade, right? Then I feel like it's a waste of time. People be going for psychology, people be going for general science, or general studies, or like just dumbass, like, what are you like going to school for, bro? Dumbass graduate like programs, like dumbass studies. Like, why are you studying general studies? Like, why would you spend all that money to do? Okay, you're not sure what you want to do yet. You want to knock out general studies. Why do you even have to do general studies again when you just went through all of high school, just to go through and do the same thing, recap again, and then you go into these, like, the interest rate on the student loans. Matter of fact, we about to do student loans. That's what's going to be the ending point for the student loans today. Hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel at sign Bitcoin Chris. Also, the music channel is at Chris Knight 407. Subscribe and like. We're going to talk about the student loans, and that'll be it for today's. Look at that. That'll be it for today's video. But let's look at Bitcoin real quick because we are, like I said, coming down, looking like a little H. Looking like a little H. What did I say earlier? I said we come up to the 20. All right. That's your ad. So you add to 20, you come down, you bounce, you're at the 20 again, reject. 6 to 67. If we do not hold here, we are going to come down lower. So please don't act surprised if we come down lower. So now we're going to jump into the student loan dilemma. There is a let me see if I can find it. Hey, can you hear me? I got a call. Give me one moment. All right, so we're watching Bitcoin right now, and I'm looking for the student loan tweet because there's a video that I have. I have to find the student loan video, so I'm looking for that right now. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and jump into. We're going to utilize Grok. Grok has grown on me, right? I like Grok a lot because Grok goes in and checks. Grok is actually pretty good. I rocks with Grok. All right, so we need to discuss the student loan, and this is something Max and Stacy went over a long time ago as well. The student loan disaster. Disaster. I know that's not how you spell disaster. In the United States of America, where the loans are excessive due to the interest and the amount of people who go to school because that's what they were indoctrinated to do, pay all this money and are not and do not have a job in the field they went to school for. The main concerns and anger some have, including myself, is the interest, which never allows them to actually pay off their loans. This is crippling. Find the data, break it down, simple English. With examples. And let me I am doing a live stream teaching my audience of the scam of student loans. Do not give your opinions or nuances, facts, and conclusions from data only. Do you understand? I don't care about my spelling when I talk to chat or AI or any of these LLMs, okay? Because they know what I'm talking about, okay? And I'm typing so fast that it doesn't really matter. I need to find this student loan video. Video. All right, so class is in session. You know, I always got to do TA, and then we got to jump into educational. I say the same thing. Oh, here we go. Bitcoin jumping down a little bit. My bad, y'all didn't see me typing that because y'all looking at BTC, but I basically, oh, wow, look at that. Yeah, we're probably gonna come down lower. So, student loan scam. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. SCAM. Your boy Super Shadow Band. Because I'm looking at these tweets that I did back in the day, a couple years ago. I have thousands of views on my tweets. And now I can't even get, and it's okay because I know why exactly it is actually, because I'll be talking the truth, and anybody that talks the truth out here, they get silenced. And if you don't know that by now, you're pretty naive. Because it's the same thing applies with the music industry, right? The same thing applies to the mainstream media, right? If it's not negative or detrimental to the society, they're not putting you on the radio. They're not giving you no play, right? They're not playing you on the radio unless you're talking crazy hoorah rah rah, that crazy rap music that's detrimental to society, right? Even I talked about that, right? So same thing's gonna happen when it comes to the truth, and it is what it is. So especially now that the algo has been studying us since Elon took over. Here we go. Here we go. Red dot popped up on the 15-minute. Look at the 30-minute. Look at that. 10-minute. Look at that. That's the 20-day moving average. Come down. So we either gonna come down a little bit lower and head up, or we're gonna come all right on down. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's that hour. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 90 minutes. And then the last 30 minutes. We got sell pressure here. Oh, we got some buying pressure here. I'll turn this green. And we got some buyers. Yep. All right, cool. Got some buyers. Student loan. Man, I can't find this video. Well, when I do, I will share it with you guys. Again, we are reacting. Reaction, reaction. All right, cool. So I'll keep an eye out on that, and if anything happens, what we'll do is we will switch back to the charts. All right, so right now, so we're going to jump into the topic, the educational part of today's video, which is student loans. Right, total student loan stands at approximately 1.833 trillion as of quarter three of 2025, with federal loans making up a vast majority, around 1.6 trillion, and private loans about 144 to 167 billion, held by roughly 42 to 44 million borrowers. The average federal student loan borrower is about $40,000, including private around 42 to 43. Median balance is lower between 20 and 25. For example, public universities bachelor graduates borrow average around 32,000. They may leave with 27 to 41 depending on the school, public or for profit. Currently, fixed rates for new federal loans July 1st, 2026 is about 6% for the undergraduate. Unsubsidized loans 7.94 for graduates. Unsubsidized 8.94 for plus loans. Data shows interest significantly increasing the amounts repaid for a $30,000 loan at 6% annual interest over the standard 10-year repayment plan, 120 months. The monthly payment is approximately $333. Total paid is about $40,000, and interest paid total roughly $9,000. Calculated via standard loan payments (PMT), where the monthly rate. Many borrowers use income-driven repayments, where payments are a percentage of discretionary income, usually 10 to 20%, under prior IDR policies. Low-income borrowers' balances could increase 46% after 10 years because the payments sometimes do not cover the accruing interest, leading to negative amortization balance growth. Recently, policy changes subsidizes in some plans aim to prevent this. Certain cases, I'm right here. Court actions have led interest accrual resuming on some plans, causing balance to grow again, affecting affected borrowers. Many borrowers struggle with repayment. Delinquency rates, 90 plus days relinquency or default stands at 9.4% of aggregate student loans, New York Fed. All right, with federal loans growing around 10% delinquent in later 2025 data, millions of borrowers reported 5 to 8 million in default or near default status post payment pause, hold over 200 billion in defaulted or severely delinquent debt. A large share of graduates do not work in their field of study. Data indicates only 27% of bachelor's degree holders work in occupations that closely match their majors, with 40 to 45% reporting in complete mismatch. Amongst recent graduates, only 30% of the class of 2025 and 41% of class 2024 secured full-time jobs related to their degrees. 26% work in unrelated fields, and 20 to 30% are unemployed and seeking work. 30% of the class of 2025 and 41% of the class of 2024. That's not good. Underemployment. Jobs are typically require college degree, affects over 50% of reaching graduates initially and persist around 45% after 10 years. Rates exceed 55 to 67% for majors like that's what I'm saying, liberal arts, bro. You go to school for liberal arts, bro? Performing arts, bro? I don't know what y'all be thinking, but okay. And data summary for your stream. Facts only. Over 42 million Americans hold 1.8 trillion in student loans, with averages balances near $40,000 at typical rates of 69%. Interest adds thousands to the repayments, nearly $10,000 extra on a 30,000 10-year loan. Many are on IDR. See balances grow, payments fall, short-term interest. Delinquency affects 9 to 10% of debt. With millions in default status, meanwhile, only 27 to 41% of graduates land jobs closely related. 27 to 41% get jobs related to their field or their major, with high mismatch and underemployment rates documented across major studies and majors. These figures come directly from the Federal Reserve Department of Education. All right, these are exact numbers. Okay, cool. So, what about how much a doctor or lawyer's pay over their time in and after school, and how much interest. And for a student loan of, let's just say 50,000 in 2025, 2026. And this is what I mean by how people will go $40,000 to $50,000 in debt to get a degree when the degree is outdated, and the information now, especially with technology, just goes so fast. And then on top of that, you don't even get a job in the field. Majority of the people don't get a job in the field that they went to school for. So you'll take out 40 grand in student loan debt, but you won't take a loan out to buy the most scarce asset on planet Earth that can literally change your bloodline and change your life, right? Make it make sense. People are low IQ. I'm not gonna say. I'm trying to watch myself. Doctors, median total education debt, median school plus pre med. The indebted class of 2025 graduates $215,000, public and private combined, meaning 223,000. Median medical school debt alone often is around 200,000, with the total average medical school debt at 216. Okay, around 250, just about 70 to 74%. Okay, yeah, absolutely, 70 to 74% have debt. Loans primarily federal, direct, unsubsidized, 7% plus, and a plus and plus for 2025 disbursements, graduate rates. All right, cool. Repayment data from AAMC, federal loans, repayment total repaid ranges from three. Is that, see what I'm talking? See, y'all think I just be talking to just be talking? Literally says here for a two, you basically borrow about 250, but the range is pretty much double, right? So almost 400 to almost $700,000. Interest ranges between 130 to almost $500,000 over 10 to 32 years, depending on the plan. Many physicians take 13 to 20 years. 30% expect, 10%, 30%. 30% of practicing physicians have fully repaid. Lawyers, average student loan debt 130. Okay, that's not too bad. 130. I mean, kind of high. Some graduates apply 7.94. I'm subsidized 8.4 plus. Typically 20 to 25 years. 19 years. 25% of income payments private sector not denied. So that shows, some data shows 16 to 35 years depending on school and income. So for a $50,000 loan balance in 2020, no, we gotta go. We gotta do lawyers again. Okay. $50,000 loan balance. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Calculation. 7.9. 10 years. 605. Wow. Total paid 72,000. Interest 22,000. 20 years. 460 paid. Total 99,000. Paid 50,000. 25,000. 25 a year. 384. Total paid 115. 65,000. Higher interest rate. We have 10-year. So your total paid 75,000. Total interest 25,000. 20-year 448, 107,000. Interest paid 57. And if you stretch it out for 25 years, 418 paid 125,000, and then you're paying back 70. You're paying 125,000 back. You paid 75,000 in interest. So We gotta find out how much the doctors pay though, or the lawyers. Are we gonna hold? Not looking too good. 30 minutes. We got a red dot. And we coming down. All right. Lawyers graduate approximately 130, and 20 to 130. 20% of young lawyers surveyed report that their current balance is higher now than at graduation. Average increase over 46,000 for those affected. Standard payment is about repayment for $130,000 in debt. Average rate at rate 7, almost 8%. 10 years monthly payments 1,500 total. 188,000 interest 58,000. 20 years of payments 259,000. You paid 130,000. 25 years of payments. 299,000. You paid. You see what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about, bro. This is what I'm talking about. 30 years if you want to spread it out over 30 years. 341, you pay 211,000 in interest. And then that's with the lower interest rate. Let's the higher interest rate, 10 rate. The 10 almost 9%, so 8.94%. 10 years, you spread it out. That's a lot of payment. That's a lot of money coming out over 10 years. $1,600 a month. You paid almost 200,000. Out of the 200,000, 67,000 is interest. 20 years if you want to get your lower payment, save $500 a month, or give or take. You pay 279, almost 280, and then you have $150,000 in interest. 25 years, you want to save, wow, they got less than $100 more. You're paying way more to spread it out over 25 years. $325,000 paid. Almost 200,000 of that is straight interest. And in 30 years, you're paying 1,000. You're paying $374,000 over the year, over 30 years, and then you're paying $244,000 just in interest, right? So this is what I mean when I say, why would you go into debt and spend all this money when you could have just let's, oh, let's do the calculations on a IRR or CAGR of 30% for BTC for each of the examples above for doctors, lawyers, and regular students over the same time frame. 10 years, 20 years, 25, and 30, and then do, instead of getting a loan into, so what would the calculation BTC for each one of the examples invested into versus a student loan? And then instead of getting a loan, do a DCA of the payments above and the amount they would have accumulated in wealth. just by DCA. Do you understand? So we just pretty much so we saw we're seeing. So I'm pretty much asking, hey, okay, so let's say we got a loan and that went into Bitcoin instead. How would that work? And then I said, instead of us getting a loan at all, let's just do the monthly payments. Kind of like you got a loan, like you got a loan, but you didn't get a loan. You're just putting that monthly payments instead of you paying a loan into BTC, right? So let's see if it answers it correctly, or if I explained it correctly, because I think I did, but I don't know. Maybe I'm my brain is moving a little fast right now. So so regular student $50,000 loan, 7.4 interest. So 10 years, monthly payments of 605. Total paying to loan 72,000. If DCA 605 a month into BTC at 30 cent 30 CGAR, you got $349,000 in BTC accumulated. 20 years, 416, $99,000 paid. And then you got 3.5 million. 25 years at 384 paid. 100 you turn 115 into 12 million. You turn 99 thousand into 3 million. You turn 72,000 into 350,000. Right? And then over 30 years, 365. You turn 131,000 into 43 million. So okay, so now you're doing more, right? You're doing a higher. This is higher payments. Instead of you paying $632 into your loan, you pay $632 into BTC for 10 years. For you put 75,000 in, you're getting 365. So you can see how these start to add up real quick, right? A lawyer, instead of you paying $1,500 into a month for 10 years, 188,000. You turn 188,000, you almost 10x, right? 20 years, 250, 260 into almost 9 million, 9.2 million. 25 years, $1,000 a month, turn 300,000 into 31 million. 30 years, almost 1,000 into 112 million. Right? Obviously, a little bit more with the higher interest rate. You're paying more, so you're getting more back. Boom, doctor. Instead of you being a doctor, and we need doctors and we need lawyers. Well, I don't know. Jesus says, "Woe unto you, lawyers!" Right? So I don't really like lawyers, um, or attorneys. Right? I don't like attorneys. Lawyers, depending, there's good and bads and everything. Right? But there's more bad attorneys than good attorneys. Right? So it is what it is. Instead of you being a doctor, right? 260 $2,000. You turn 300,000 into 1.5 in 10 years. You turn 400,000 into 15 million. You turn almost 500,000 into 52 million. You turn 564 million into 185 million dollars. Crazy. Obviously, a little bit more here. So these numbers are the standard loan payment formula and DC future value formula at exactly 30% annual CAGR. All figures are rounded to millions of dollars. Use exact numbers and yeah, exactly. So boom. So instead of you paying into that, this is what you would get. So it understood my question and it broke it down perfectly, right? And then what you would all numbers. All right, cool. So that's gonna be it for today's video. I've been on here for 2 hours and 30 minutes, so 30 minutes over. So with that being said, I gave you I gave you the breakdown of the numbers, right? So we're gonna talk about that's what we're talking about, right? It's talking about the numbers. This is your educational part of the stream, right? Student loans. If you need to go to school, go to school, right? Especially if you're being you're getting a trade like plumber or you know something that's actually going to be able to make you some money as soon as you get out, like a barber, obviously doctor, lawyer. We talked about that already. There's scientists and all that good stuff, engineering, all that good stuff. We're not talking about those. We're not talking about those careers, right? We're not talking about those. We're talking about the dumb Dumb stuff that y'all be going to school for, like general studies and stuff. So see, I was gonna break this down to y'all, but I'm not even gonna tell you guys this because I've already talked about the IUL and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna keep that for myself because I'm gonna read and see how much it's gonna turn out to. Because I've already been telling you guys about the IUL and utilizing the same dollar twice, and then using the credit to, you feel me? Like I'm telling you so many different things, but who's gonna listen? Nobody. So I don't really. I don't really feel like going in and spending any more time on the stream because I'm already on here for 2 hours and 30 minutes. So with that being said, this is Bitcoin Chris checking out. I hope you guys have a beautiful Thursday. Bitcoin's on sale. Let's go check out Bitcoin before we slide. We're holding on. We're holding on. Red dot on the 30 minute. So we're holding on. We're gonna see what happens next. 10 minute. We have that buyer block. That buyer block right there. We got support right there. But this could be a bear flag. So we're gonna wait and see. With that being said, Bitcoin Chris checking out. I gave you the TA. I told you 117 for MicroStrategy. Been saying that for a while. And we hit it. I said these levels here for Bitcoin for a while. I had the fibs on the live stream. I didn't change anything. You guys can go back in time and see it as well. Boom. I've been on point. So when I tell you something, I kind of just want to try to help you out. Whether you listen or not, cool. Do your own due diligence. Do your own research. Don't take anything that I say at face value. And the last thing I want to say is, if you guys do need help with fixing your credit, and if you do need help with with if you're being sued or you want to sue, if you need help with you know a couple different things, business credit, you just go to my link tree. Link tree is link in my it's the link is in my bio, and you click here. You click here, and then you go to explore services, and you click on the services that you want, and we can help you. You're being sued, or you want to be you're being sued, and you want to get out. You want to make sure that you get that case dismissed because of the FDCPA allows you to utilize the rights and in the law to help you not have to deal with these debt collectors because they're very deceptive, right? There's trust formation for you to put your Bitcoin into a trust, so you got to worry about, probate and all that good stuff when you pass away, or that we have instructions for the children, right? Like what Mark Moss was talking about in the beginning of this call. Business credit we can help you out with. Personal credit, obviously you need good personal credit to get the business credit. And then if you guys are dealing with some debt right now that you want to get settled out, whether it be a loan or credit cards, there's always ways to handle that, right? Accord of satisfaction, which I did videos on. So a lot of these things I've already talked about. I'm now offering these services to you. I've been offering these services to you, but now it's just on a nice, slick, easy to go to and do website. Everything's all in one place. I had like different landing pages for the different services, but now everything is going to be on one site. So you click here. You click upload documents because if you're being sued, you just type in your information, right? And you enter your phone number, and then you do I'm being sued, right? Or you do I want to sue somebody, or other legal matters such as foreclosure or repossession, or whatever the case may be. Whatever it is that you need help with, and then the urgency of when you need time, and describe the situation, how fast you need to be responded to, and then you drop your law. Like if you're being sued, you just take a picture, upload the document. If you're being sued, it's online on the county website, so download it, upload the document, and then submit the documents. And so it's very super easy. Credit restoration super easy. You come here, excuse me, you restore your credit. You sign up here, you just type in your information, and then we'll get to you. Obviously, we accept Bitcoin as well. So, boom, you do that. And then if you want to build your credit, here is the slideshow, which everybody should, do anyway. Build your credit if you don't. Have anything on your credit right now. If you don't have any negative items, but you want to start to build your credit, then these are the things to do. So you can add authorized users as well. So I go through all that in this slideshow. It's 31 slides of great information that a lot of people just don't really understand, especially the statement date and due date. And then we have the authorized users. So and this is I've had this slideshow since I've had my business, which is in 2020. So all this information has been here. Obviously, I've added more accounts over time, and all that good stuff. So, go through this. Right, it's free information. It's information that you can utilize to help yourself and family members and friends. So, just make sure you guys check it out. With that being said, this is Bitcoin Chris checking out. God loves you. I love you. Stay blessed. All praise to the Most High, always and forever. Jesus is King, and we're gonna take it to the next level in 2026. And we are already starting off the year with a bang, with some sale and discount on Bitcoin and other, financial assets. But with that being said, you guys take care, man. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bitcoin Chris checking out. Swanbitcoin.com/Bitcoin Chris. Get your $10 free. Make sure you get your fold card as well to be automatically, getting sats back when you buy and shop anyway, as well. And yeah, you guys take care. See you guys in the next video. Peace.
Yeah, I'm stacking them, yeah, yeah.
Running with country bass, country bass.